In this video, we'll have an introduction to some Azure security features. In this video, I'm going to talk about Azure Security Center. Now, this is a monitoring service. It monitors both on-premises, if you allow it to, and in the cloud. And there's a whole host of what it can do for you. It's a continuous monitoring of resources, with security recommends for your current resources, and you'll be able to apply any required security settings to new resources. You can block malware from your virtual machines and other resources, and you'll be able to add application control rule, which can define a list of allowed applications that can be installed. You can detect potential inbound attacks and investigate threats, and provide JIT, just-in-time access control for network ports. It integrates with Microsoft Defender for endpoint, and if you click on the Getting Started, it also works with Azure Defender. By the way, this is what you will see right at the beginning if you go into Security Center, and none of these on the left will be clickable. You just have to scroll down and there's a Not Now button. So some of the things that it contains, we have got policy compliance. So how are you doing against your policy requirements? So you can see policies like ISO 27001, for instance. How are you doing against that? There's also security alerts, so you can create automated responses with workflow automation. So this then goes into Azure Logic Apps, which we've had a look at earlier. There's also a security score. This is a measurement of your security posture. So my security posture, not great, 40%, 14 out of 35. So you can report on the current state, and you can improve your security posture with these recommendations. You can also compare against various benchmarks as well. There's also regulatory compliance as well. So these are security issues and vulnerabilities with respect to your regulatory standards. So Azure Security Center, it's a monitoring service. It allows the checking of your services on premises and in the cloud. And it includes policy compliance, security alerts, secure score, and regulatory compliance. In this video, I'm going to briefly talk about the Azure Key Vault. And it's brief because it's a marvelous piece of technology, but it really is simple to explain. It's a centralized store for an application's secrets. So secrets could include tokens, passwords, certificates, keys, API keys, for instance, API standing for Application Programming Interface, might be encryption keys. The certifications, those could be SSL and TLS, so Secure Sockets Layer and Transport Layer Security. So these are ways to encrypt while data is on the move. And the secrets can be backed by hardware security models. Now that is a physical computing device for safeguarding and managing these keys. So you've got access monitoring and control, and it integrates with other Azure services. For example, we have seen several times when we were creating these other services that where do you want your secrets to be stored? In a key vault. For example, if I create a Cosmos DB, so a new database, and I go into encryption, it's asking me how do you want to encrypt your data? And one of the options is service managed key, and where is that going to be stored? In the Key Vault. So Key Vault, it's a centralized store for your application secrets. So those secrets can include keys, passwords, certificates, and other tokens. In this video, I want to talk about Azure Sentinel, which is a SIEM system. SIM is security information and event management. You're able, using Azure Sentinel, to collect cloud data at scale. And if we have a look at creating an Azure Sentinel, the first thing it says is it needs a workspace, and the workspace is a log analytics workspace. So you're collecting data from users, devices, applications, and infrastructure. You can detect previously undetected threats with built-in and custom analytics. You can investigate threats using artificial intelligence and respond to those incidents rapidly. For example, Azure Monitor workbooks can automate responses. For example, you might be able to send an email to a network admin with 2 buttons, block or ignore the threat. So that's basically about it. SIM is security information and event management, and Azure Sentinel is a SIM system. Helps you detect previously undetected threats with artificial intelligence. Now, you may have your own regulations. Maybe they are company regulations, or maybe they are regulations in the industry that you're in, maybe the health or financial services, that require you to be the only customer using a physical machine. So you can have virtual machines on that physical machine, but nobody else is allowed on that machine. This is what the Azure dedicated host is all about. It is a dedicated physical server to a single Azure subscription. However, you can have multiple resource groups, so you can have multiple VMs, for example, on this dedicated host. The advantages of a dedicated host is that it provides visibility into the server infrastructure for your VMs. So it's no longer the case of, well, it could be one of several places all around this region. No, we know it's on this dedicated host. It fulfills your requirements that you need to have your workloads on a single server. You can choose the hardware for your VM processors and memories and so on. Now, you don't necessarily have one host. If you've got multiple hosts, well, that would be a host group, and then you can control when maintenance happens. So maybe it happens on one machine and not the second machine at the same time. Now, of course, it's going to be pricey, isn't it? However, you can use your on-premises Windows Server and SQL Server licenses to reduce the cost, and the price is charged per host, per dedicated host, so the individual computer, rather than per VM. So how many VMs you want is down to you. So Azure dedicated hosts. Useful if you've got regulations that require you to be the only tenant, the only organization using a single physical machine which hosts VMs. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video so far. Coming up, we'll have a quiz to see how much you can remember. Now, if you want to learn more about Microsoft Azure, then please go to our website, idodata.com. You can find more information about our AZ900 Microsoft Azure Fundamentals course, which includes cloud concepts, core services, solutions and migration, management and security features, and ID, identity, and governance features. And also have a look at our DP900 Microsoft Azure Data Fundamentals, which looks at databases, both relational, semi-structured, and non-relational, together with additional topics. And these courses and many more are available on our website, idodata.com. So let's have a look at the quiz for this video. Question 1. I want to store my secrets. Which feature do I use? Azure Security Center, Azure Key Vault, Azure Sentinel, or Azure Dedicated Hosts? The correct answer, Azure Key Vault. Question number 2. I would like to have multiple virtual machines on a machine only for my use. What should I use to ensure this exclusivity? Is it Windows Virtual Desktop, Virtual Machine Scale Sets, Azure Dedicated Hosts, or Azure DevTest Labs? And the correct answer is Azure Dedicated Hosts. While virtual machine skill sets and Azure Dev Test Labs are good for creating multiple virtual machines, none of the other options ensures exclusivity. Question 3. Which of these is a security information and event management system which collects cloud data at scale and can detect Which of these is a security information and event management system which collects cloud data at scale and can detect previously undetected threats? Azure Security Center, Azure Key Vault, Azure Sentinel, or Azure Service Health? The correct answer is Azure Sentinel. So Azure Security Center is a monitoring system but not a full security information and event management system. And Azure Service Health displays major and minor issues for those areas that might affect you. And question number 4. I want to check my secure score and resource hygiene. Which Azure service do I go to? Azure Security Center, Azure Key Vault, Azure Sentinel, or Azure Sphere? And the correct answer is Azure Security Center. So Azure Key Vault is a centralized store for application secrets. Azure Sentinel is a security information and event management system, while Azure Sphere is an end-to-end, highly secure Information of Things solution. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, then please like it. And why not subscribe and click that bell? That way you'll be notified about any new videos. It really does help. If you want to find out more about Microsoft Azure, then please click on the playlist on the end screen. And if you want to find out more about our courses, please go to our website. I'm Philip Burton of idodata.com. Thanks for watching and keep learning.